The sun of Solara's world glimmered over the floating cities, casting golden reflections across the crystal towers. Ships moved silently through the sky, their paths guided by technology far beyond what humans had yet created. Ethan stood at the edge of the landing platform, watching the alien metropolis stretch into the distance. Though the city was beautiful, he felt a weight on his shoulders. He was a human alone in a world of beings whose power and intellect far exceeded his own, or so it seemed. Ethan had arrived on this planet as part of a diplomatic mission. The goal was simple: establish a peaceful alliance between Earth and Solara's empire. Yet as he stepped forward into the alien capital, he realized that diplomacy was only the beginning. The aliens, tall and graceful, moved with a precision that was almost mechanical. Their eyes glowed faintly in the sunlight, and their voices resonated with a musical tone that humans could never replicate. At the center of the capital rose the palace, an immense structure carved from shimmering stone that seemed alive under the light. This was where Solara, the queen, ruled. Rumors had painted her as powerful, wise, and uncompromising. Ethan felt a mixture of awe and anxiety as he approached the palace gates, flanked by alien guards whose weapons glimmered faintly. "You will be brought before the queen," said a guard in a voice that carried authority without a hint of anger. "Step carefully, human. Do not underestimate our customs." Ethan nodded, careful to maintain a posture of respect. Every step he took echoed in the marble hallways, a sound that seemed almost loud in the silence of the palace. Finally, he was led to a grand chamber where Solara awaited him. She was taller than any human, her movements smooth and deliberate, her golden eyes observing him with interest. Her presence alone commanded the room, yet she radiated a calm curiosity that made Ethan feel both nervous and welcomed. "You are Ethan of Earth," she said, her voice melodic yet firm. "You have come seeking alliance. But tell me, why should I trust your species?" Ethan straightened, meeting her gaze. "Your people are strong and wise, Your Majesty. I believe humanity has the potential to bring value to this alliance, not just as allies but as partners. We may be few and fragile compared to your species, but we are adaptable, courageous, and capable of understanding." Solara's expression remained unreadable, but a flicker of interest passed through her eyes. "Words are easy, human. Actions are harder." Before Ethan could respond, an aide entered, announcing the next stage of the Queen's ceremony. The court had gathered to witness a union meant to solidify trust between species. Ethan's stomach tightened as Solara gestured for him to come forward. He realized with surprise that the ceremony was not just a formal event. It was a marriage tradition, the court murmured among themselves. Many aliens looked at Ethan with doubt, whispering about how the Queen could even consider a human. Yet Solara did not hesitate. "Step forward," she commanded. "This is the path we choose together." Ethan's heart raced. He had not expected this, and yet he understood the importance. With careful steps, he approached the Queen, bowing in respect. The ritual was simple but significant, a ceremonial clasp, a spoken promise, and an exchange of symbols that bound them in a tradition older than any human history. As the ceremony ended, the court erupted into whispers and murmurs. Some were curious, some skeptical, and a few openly critical. Ethan felt the weight of their eyes, yet he stood firm, offering Solara a calm smile. Days passed after the ceremony, and Ethan began to live in the palace. He observed the aliens' daily lives, their intricate technology, and their disciplined culture. He quickly realized that this was more than just diplomacy. It was a challenge. Every day presented situations that required intelligence, quick thinking, and courage. A collapsed transport beam one morning required him to solve a complex mechanical problem under pressure. An unstable energy core threatened a district of the city, and Ethan's calculations helped stabilize it. Solara watched him quietly during these moments. She was intrigued but cautious. How could a human, so small and seemingly fragile, navigate situations that her species struggled with? And yet every time a crisis emerged, Ethan's calm logic and decisive actions made a difference. One evening, the palace was thrown into sudden chaos. A rogue ship had appeared near the capital, firing upon the outskirts of the city. Alarms rang and the court scrambled in panic. The alien guards moved swiftly, but there was confusion. Solara's eyes narrowed, her attention fixed on the threat. Ethan stepped forward. "Tell me the layout of the city's defense systems," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos. A guard hesitated but provided the information. Within moments, Ethan had devised a plan, using the city's own energy shields and transportation networks to protect the civilians. The plan was risky, requiring both courage and precision. Solara's eyes widened. She had suspected strength in this human, but she had not expected such boldness. As the rogue ship advanced, Ethan moved to the control platform. He activated energy barriers, rerouted power through redundant systems, and coordinated the guards' actions. Every decision was quick, calculated, and effective. Slowly, the attacking ship faltered under the combined force of the city's defenses, now expertly manipulated by a human hand. Solara watched, astonished. The human she had married was proving himself not only capable but extraordinary. The court, too, was silent, witnessing a human take command of a situation that had threatened the entire capital. When the danger finally passed, Solara approached Ethan. Her golden eyes reflected a mixture of awe and newfound respect. "You are unlike any human I have known," she said quietly. "Your courage and your mind. It is beyond what I expected." Ethan bowed slightly, his voice humble. "I only did what I could to protect your people, Your Majesty. Strength comes in many forms, not just in size or power." The Queen nodded, her gaze lingering on him. She realized that she had seen only the surface of humanity's potential. Beneath the calm, unassuming exterior, there was strength that could rival even the most advanced of her own species. The following days were filled with both normal palace life and ongoing training. Ethan learned more about alien combat techniques, technology, and strategy. He practiced quietly, honing his reflexes, while subtly demonstrating his capability to Solara. Each time a minor crisis arose, Ethan acted with precision, further proving his worth. The court, initially skeptical, began to change its tone. Whispers of admiration replaced murmurs of doubt. They watched as the human navigated challenges with intelligence and courage, earning respect that no words could achieve. Solara, however, remained thoughtful. She had chosen Ethan not for his strength alone, but because she saw potential, a human capable of rising to any challenge. She understood now that the court would have to witness his full capability to truly comprehend the depth of human potential. One evening, Solara and Ethan stood together on a balcony overlooking the city. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of red and gold. Ethan felt a sense of calm in her presence, a quiet understanding that their partnership was more than ceremony. It was mutual respect and trust. "You surprise me," Solara said softly. "I had thought humans were fragile, weak compared to my people. Yet you have shown me otherwise." Ethan smiled, a mixture of humility and quiet confidence. "Strength is not always visible, Your Majesty. Sometimes it is shown in thought and courage, in choosing the right moment to act." Solara's gaze lingered on him. She realized that the journey ahead would be unlike anything her empire had experienced. With a human by her side, there was potential not only for growth, but for triumph over challenges that no alien alone could face. Suddenly, an alert sounded from the palace command center. A new threat approached, larger, faster, and more dangerous than the last. The court stirred nervously. Solara turned to Ethan, her expression a mix of concern and trust. Ethan's eyes narrowed, his mind already calculating possibilities. "We face this together," he said firmly. "And we will prevail." The Queen nodded, astonished. She had married a human, expecting only curiosity and diplomacy. Instead, she had found courage, intellect, and a strength that could stand beside her own. The first true test of his hidden abilities was about to begin, and Solara knew that the events to come would reveal just how extraordinary humanity could be. As the night deepened, Ethan prepared for the challenge ahead. He moved with quiet determination, a human in a world of aliens ready to prove that strength could take many forms. Solara watched him, her astonishment tempered with admiration. The Empire had changed the moment she chose to marry him, and she would never see humanity the same way again. The warning sirens blared through the city as the rogue fleet advanced. Ethan stood beside Solara on the palace balcony, his gaze calm but alert. The ships were unlike anything he had ever seen, sleek, heavily armed, and moving with deadly precision. Alien guards scrambled, preparing defenses, but there was confusion in the air. Even the most experienced commanders hesitated under the scale of the threat. Ethan took a deep breath and focused. He had studied the city's defenses, its energy grids, and the tactical options available. It was time to reveal the full extent of what he could do. "Solara," he said, "we must act now. Your people trust your command, but they need guidance. Let me coordinate the defense." The Queen's eyes widened slightly, but she nodded. "Do it," she said, her voice steady. "I will stand with you." Ethan moved to the central command platform where holographic displays of the city and surrounding skies flickered to life. He quickly assessed the situation. The enemy fleet was fast, armed with energy cannons and advanced missiles. If even one strike hit the city's main energy core, the entire floating metropolis could collapse. "Activate all defense turrets," he commanded. "Focus on the lead ship. The others will follow once we neutralize its control signals. Divert secondary power to the shields, but leave enough for propulsion. Timing is everything." The alien officers exchanged startled glances. They had never seen a human handle command with such precision and confidence. A few whispered among themselves, questioning whether their skepticism had been wrong all along. Ethan didn't pause. He calculated the trajectory of each incoming missile, the angle of energy beams, and the response time of the defense systems. He coordinated the alien guards with precise instructions, moving them to optimal positions. When the first attack came, he redirected energy barriers with a combination of skill and intuition that left even the most advanced alien AI systems struggling to keep up. The city shook as energy cannons fired, but Ethan's commands minimized the impact. One by one, the enemy ships were neutralized. Their attacks became less coordinated, their movements desperate as they tried to adapt to the humans' tactics. Solara watched, astonished. She had expected courage from a human, perhaps cleverness but not mastery over alien strategy and technology. Her mind raced as she realized that her choice in marrying Ethan was more than symbolic. It was strategic genius. One of the rogue ships attempted to break through the outer shield. Ethan focused, running calculations in his head faster than any computer could. "Divert the auxiliary shields to the northern sector," he shouted. "Prepare the ion nets. Lure it into the trap." The alien engineers obeyed immediately. Within moments, the rogue ship became entangled in the ion nets, its movements restricted. Ethan then commanded a precise energy strike, neutralizing its weapons without destroying the hull, ensuring the attackers could not regroup. The court and palace guards watched in stunned silence. This human, whom they had doubted and underestimated, had just saved the city from a fleet that would have overwhelmed even their strongest forces. Murmurs of admiration began to ripple through the crowd. Solara stepped forward, her golden eyes fixed on Ethan. "You are remarkable," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I never imagined a human could be this capable." Ethan turned to her, a small, calm smile on his face. "I am only using what I know, Your Majesty. Strength is not just in size or power. It is in the mind, the heart, and the choices we make in critical moments." For the first time, the Queen felt a shift in her perception. Humans were fragile in appearance, but the courage and ingenuity they could display were unparalleled. This one human standing beside her was proof of that truth. After the attack, the city began to assess the damage. Minor repairs were needed, but the main energy core and infrastructure remained intact. Ethan coordinated the recovery, his mind moving as quickly as it had during the battle. He worked alongside the engineers, showing techniques and strategies that were unfamiliar to the aliens, but effective beyond expectation. The court gathered to acknowledge Ethan's actions. Initially, there was hesitation. How could a human so small and unassuming accomplish what even the greatest of their warriors could not? Yet there was no denying the results. The aliens, proud and disciplined, began to bow in respect. Some even muttered words of praise they would never have spoken before. Solara stood beside him, her expression a mixture of awe and admiration. "You have shown me something I could not have imagined," she said. "Not just strength, but wisdom, courage, and insight. You are my equal in ways I never expected." Ethan shook his head slightly, humbled despite the praise. "I do not seek equality, Your Majesty. I only seek to protect, to act wisely, and to do what must be done." The Queen smiled. She realized that her initial surprise at marrying a human had been misplaced. She had underestimated the true capabilities of his species, and now she knew that humanity had a potential that could change the galaxy. In the days following the attack, Ethan continued to demonstrate his abilities. He trained with the palace guards not to show off, but to understand their methods and improve coordination. He worked with scientists, offering fresh perspectives that solved long-standing problems in energy management and transportation. And he shared his strategies with Solara, helping her refine her leadership and defense plans. The court, once skeptical, began to see humans in a new light. They whispered that perhaps humans were not fragile at all, but adaptable, courageous, and capable of thinking beyond the limitations that even advanced alien minds sometimes imposed. One evening, as the city settled after another day of recovery, Solara and Ethan walked together along the palace gardens. The floating flowers glowed softly in the night, casting gentle light across the paths. Solara looked at Ethan, her mind replaying the events of the past week. "You have changed everything," she said. "Not just for me, but for my people. They will never see humans the same way again." Ethan smiled. "Perhaps they will understand that strength can come in unexpected forms. That courage is not measured by size or appearance, but by the willingness to act when it matters most." Solara's hand brushed against his. It was a gesture of trust, partnership, and respect. "I chose you not because I expected this, but because I saw potential. You have fulfilled that expectation and exceeded it." A sudden alert interrupted their moment. Scouts reported movement on the horizon, another fleet, larger and more coordinated than before. The palace guards tensed, but Ethan's calm demeanor never wavered. "Then we will face it together," he said. "We have learned from the last attack, and we will act with precision." Solara's eyes shone with confidence. She knew now that with a human by her side, the Empire could withstand threats no alien alone could face. Ethan had revealed his true strength, not through arrogance, but through courage, intelligence, and unwavering calm. The next days were a test of endurance and strategy. Ethan led countermeasures, using both technology and intuition to outmaneuver the enemy. The alien fleet followed his guidance with discipline, executing maneuvers they would not have dared under ordinary command. Time and again, Ethan's decisions turned potential disasters into victories. Each success strengthened the bond between him and Solara. She saw not just a human, but a partner who understood the weight of leadership, the responsibility of power, and the courage needed to protect life. Together they became a symbol of unity, a human and an alien queen standing side by side, leading their people toward a future neither could achieve alone. Eventually, the rogue fleet, unable to match the coordination and intelligence of the city's defenses under Ethan's guidance, retreated. The city, though scarred by the conflict, remained standing. The court hailed,